All right, Queerly Beloved, welcome. We are here today with Maple and Sloane, and I am Anna, your host, and I'm super excited to have these two modeled for me at a workshop I did last May, and they were by far everyone's favorite couple. Like, people could not stop talking about this little picnic setup we did with them, and Sloane brought a sword to the shoot, which was so epic. And yeah, so these two are amazing, and I'm really excited and grateful to have you two here. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, sharing your pronouns, any identities that are important to you, that'd be awesome.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right. I am Maple. Maple like the tree. I always have to make sure people understand that. I use she, her pronouns. I think the only other identity that I feel really strongly about, I do feel really strongly about my identity as a lesbian and how much comfort having that identity has brought me.
Yeah, my name is Sloane. I use they, them pronouns. And same, I think I have pretty much landed in lesbian as a gender and lesbian as a sexuality. So love that intersection of that kind of experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just a bunch of lesbians hanging out.
Yeah, the best kind of listening material.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, I was wondering if I know you shared some with me last May, but of course, we're trying to get everybody to get to know you two a little bit more. So could you share a little bit about how you met and that first part of your story?
You're never gonna believe it. It was really at the root of things on Tumblr. Our Lord and Savior, Tumblr. But really, the crux of it was that we both played a D&D game on a multi-continental group.
Yeah, we had people from all over, kind of surrounding one person's friend group, because we didn't know each other at the time, but we both wanted to play this D&D game. And so literally the first time we met was introducing our characters. And as D&D games go, the actual campaign fell off after 2 sessions because we just couldn't get everyone back together again. But me and you just kept talking.
We were like, what if our characters were in love?
What if our characters dated? What if we played with our Barbies and made them kiss?
Do you think this is romantic? I think it's romantic.
It was very much we would stay up until 5 a.m. just talking about these characters in different situations, and then also of course about each other, and we got very, very close very, very quickly.
Yeah, and it I was in Minnesota, the United States, and you were in Ontario, Canada.
I was in Ontario, Canada. So not a huge time difference either. I think we had an hour.
Big land difference, not a big time difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we dated for long distance for 5 years.
No, okay, we can't go through this because we just had to put our relationship on a timeline for our immigration purposes, and we have a whiteboard that was laid out with but when did we do this? Was it 2016? Because when did I take the train to see you?
Mm-hmm. Very much Charlie Kelly, the Pepe Sylvia, trying to lay out when all these things happen.
Bloodshot eyes.
Yeah.
We're pulling up photos on Instagram, trying to use the geotags to figure out where we were.
That's actually insane, because it's sometimes I literally can't remember what I had for breakfast, let alone trying to remember something I did with my partner 2 years ago.
Yeah. It was so difficult putting it all on a timeline. Because I remember events,
but you had years completely off.
Exactly. I had years just switched. I knew that we vaguely would see each other 2 times a year, usually one in the summer and one in the winter, and
for about a week,
and trying to put all of the events I had remembered in those timelines in the correct order. was so difficult. Yeah, I literally had to look up like very old accounts that I have not used in 5 years to like try to find pictures.
Yeah.
Dang. That's so sad too, though. Like only a week, twice a year. That's
Right.
both very sad, but also like very awesome that you two like were so in love that you made it through that time.
Well, and I think like it wasn't as difficult as people who start in a close, like physically close relationship and then have to go long distance, because we just genuinely enjoyed each other's text conversations so much that we were like, this is fantastic. I love this and I want this to continue. And then being in person was just like another level up. That was it was a special treat.
Yeah, our in-person time was special treat, but because it all started online, it was like a lot easier to deal with, because that was just the norm.
I didn't have any kind of sense of loss of moving away from somebody. And then we just got closer and closer as we grew our lives closer together.
So cute.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, can you share a little bit about like that first time you met each other in person? Because I had to imagine like that first time was a little bit different than the rest.
It was the first time that I ever crossed an international border.
Because Sloane came to visit me in my hometown in Canada. Because like I think my parents were away for the week, so we would have like had the house to ourselves, and like I wasn't completely out to my parents at that time, and I definitely didn't tell them I was dating you.
How old were we at that point?
How old were we?
We were at least, I think I was at least 20.
Yeah, you were at least 20. So I would have been like 23.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
That seems right.
Yeah.
So, and I had crossed the border, so stressful. Immediately after I crossed the border, torrential rain, like couldn't see anything on the road. And then we got there, and I was so excited that I picked you up and spun you around, and then had to like run around the yard real quick and then come back and be like, hi.
We were like super, super excited. Yeah. Like I remember just like standing in my backyard and being like, I really, really want to show you like my garden. I don't know. I was really obsessed with that fact of showing you like my garden in person. Like before we went inside, before we kissed, like all that sort of stuff. I was like, I need to show you my garden. Look at this and tell me it's cute.
I grew these. Do you like them? I was like, yes, I like them. I like them. I like them.
That's so wholesome.
Picking me up and spinning me a lot.
I think just the like being able to physically touch you was just like revolutionary.
Yeah. I don't think we like stopped touching each other. Like
the whole yeah. Were you too nervous at all, or was it all just like excited butterflies?
I was definitely nervous.
I was mostly nervous that something would go wrong and delay it even more, because that was so immensely frustrating, trying to just like get all the details in order. But I mean, I also have like a lot of internet personal safety guidelines for myself. So I was like, I know she's real. I know that I have an out if something goes horribly wrong. Yeah. I've got the safety plan just in case.
You had a safety plan? Did you think I was going to murder you?
No, because I was like, I know you're like 100 pounds. I'll just lift you up and throw you in the river. if you like threatened me or something. But I was like, I have a car. I can just...
Oh, we got to add something new to the timeline. This is something that Maple didn't know.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that you had an out plan.
It wasn't like fully formed.
I know. I'm kidding. It is a good internet safety thing whenever you are meeting someone to have an out plan.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that at all. I was just excited to see you.
Yeah, I mean, at that point we were so like, we had confirmed identities in so many ways that it wasn't really, because we started dating officially. We met in like August of a year.
Yeah.
And then we were like dating in April of the next year. And then we met in August.
Yeah.
August. Yes, August seems right.
Yeah, so we had a good year.
About a year to get to know each other.
Yeah. That is so, like, I can't even be asking you questions about this because my current partner, we met on an app and I was not out remotely. So I met her in the middle of nowhere, essentially. and didn't tell anyone where I was. So you two definitely had the right protocol.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I did, like, to my family, I was like, I'm visiting a friend. Just because
Okay.
I think it would be really hard for them to not suspect, but I'm still very like, that's none of your business. If I happen to mention it, that's fine, but
Yeah.
that's a privilege, not a right, to know who I'm married to.
Yeah, cool. Well, so Maple, you said you weren't out and you were at your parents' place? Is that
Yes.
so
So
how did
like
that go?
my parents were actually away for the week. So I kind of timed it
Oh.
perfectly. Because also my house was pretty small. So just having more people in the house was always really, really difficult. And it wasn't like I was always pretty sure my parents would be accepting and all that sort of stuff. It was just a conversation that I wasn't really ready to have with them.
Because you also kind of came to terms with that like much later than a
I
lot
did.
of people.
Yeah.
Well, not like, obviously there's lots of people who realize in their 50s and 60s, but
yeah, it took like a long time just to like feel comfortable in my identity, and I was still really just figuring things out. And yeah, I for some reason did not feel like I wanted to have that conversation until I was like completely comfortable in where I was at that time. So I think, yeah, like for the first 2 years, you had very like passing interactions with my family. Like they knew that you were someone important to me. And did I ever tell you my dad was just like, hey, we like Sloane. Whatever you want to do is okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Yay.
Yeah. And like, so yeah, you really didn't have any full interactions with them for a long time. They just knew you in kind of passing.
Right. Because every time, either if I was coming to Canada, it was usually lining up with, like you said, other people being out of the house so that we weren't all underfoot of each other.
Or we would rent a place.
Yeah, and we rented a few places so that
just
we could
to have like space to ourselves too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about for you, Sloane? Did people know you were going to visit a partner, or?
I think I am in a pretty classic like Lutheran, we don't talk about things that I like. It's not like repressive, but it's very repressed. So I'm also just more of a private person about that because of my own relationship with it. Trying to explain my relationship with my own gender and sexuality to somebody who doesn't even have like the basics to understand that there are nuances would be exhausting. So mostly I keep it to, like, at that time, it was really just the way I explained it was that I was visiting somebody who was really important to me, and we met online, and I knew that she was safe, and we were really good friends, and we had the chance to go on vacation because it was always like, yeah, I'm going on vacation because I have somebody to stay with. And then like to somebody who I trusted more, I'd be like, and also we're dating. And it wasn't like I was scared other people found out or anything, but it was really just kind of a like,
yeah. And like sometimes you just have to weigh the cost benefit of having that conversation with someone you don't really care about.
Right. Like the emotional labor of going through it over and over again.
Right. And
that conversation when I'm just like in passing to this person.
Right. Them just being like, oh, you two are such cute friends or something. And you having to be like, okay.
All the time.
All right.
Even within the last month.
Yes. So I don't know what it is with our apartment. They do inspections on our apartment every 6 months. Okay. And so one time I think you were working from home. So you like came and saw like our landlord lady, and I was kind of like walking with her to do the inspection. And there are so many photos of us on the wall kissing in wedding outfits. Like we have a painted portrait of us.
Yeah.
Like we've got all this sort of stuff.
There's photos, there's paintings of naked women. It's,
yeah.
when you look at it, we have a wall of occult iconography in the entryway. Like it is a gay house.
Yeah.
Yep.
But our like property manager, whatever she is, when she was saying like goodbye, she's like, and tell your roommate I said bye. I was like, you saw the one bed.
You know there's a king size bed.
You're standing facing a picture of us kissing.
Hey, I mean, if
And
we're
at that point, I was like, I'm just not going to have that conversation with you because I want you out of my apartment. I want you to leave.
That's so bad. Like, I don't, at that point, was she just maybe like, oh, I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, but it's also
Right.
like, you two are very clearly very comfortable.
Yeah.
To give her like the most benefit of a doubt possible, maybe she didn't want to assume. But based on the data available, it's a pretty easy assumption.
Yeah, it's very different if you're like out in public versus in someone's home where you can see.
Right.
Oh gosh.
So
yeah.
it's very easy. Like whenever we need just to like, especially with safety as a thing or not wanting to put in the effort, we can just be like, yeah,
we're very privileged in that because I feel like you don't read as like people don't tend to assume that you're some kind of dyke. Even though you really give off gay vibes to the right people.
Yeah, but to straight people, they very, very much think that I am just a straight person. Because
especially with the rise of the e-girl phenomenon, since you have like more unique hair that's kind of associated with that. So it's fallen off. No, I mean you it's definitely not as popular anymore, but I think that gave kind of this cultural like idea that is not quite as associated with non-straightness.
Got you. Yeah, it's oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I just said I very much like two straight people. They assume I am straight.
Oh,
and you know, it's kind of a confirmation bias of people see what they want to see. So if they're not used to seeing gay people, they see a straight person.
That's a very good way to put it, because I was just gonna say, like, it is, you know, a privilege in some regards, but also it's like, you know, the amount of weddings that like I've been to and shot where like two of the groomsmen just assume that I'm straight and won't stop hitting on me. It's like, no, that's not. And then that scenario, I'm like, this is not a privilege at all. Like, get away from me.
Right. Yeah.
I am not for you. Stop.
Yeah. Right.
This is the wrong audience.
Okay. Awesome. So you two.
The intricacies.
Yes. Yeah. So you two did long distance for quite some time. Let's kind of transition into like you started to realize it was a little bit more serious. Tell us about the proposal situation.
Drawn out.
Very drawn out.
So
I think we had many conversations very early on, even when we were still long distance, that we wanted to be together.
Right. We did a lot of life planning and like, what would you like? What would I like? Are these going to mesh? And when we started kind of developing like a 5-year life plan of what we wanted, we were like, okay, we need to cohabitate for a little bit and like live together to make sure that we can handle living together.
Yeah.
Because
it is a very different thing.
And if you went through all the work to come to the United States for an amount of time, and it turned out that we didn't like each other, we both were like, I don't want that for either of us. So we wanted to understand what was going on.
Yeah, because it is like, even though we had a very, very solid relationship, all of our interactions were very condensed into like 2 or 3 weeks.
And they're usually obviously colored by like the euphoria of just seeing each other.
Oh yeah, and because like we wouldn't be working those weeks, we would just be going out and having fun, and it wasn't really a daily life kind of situation. So we really wanted to make sure that before I moved here, we could cohabitate and we could do that daily life together.
Yeah, that we could be life partners instead of just like
vacation partners.
Yeah. Which was what we were aiming towards.
Yeah. So I came and stayed in the States for 4 or 5 months.
I think about 4.
4 months.
Yeah.
And during that time, you were working, and then we also like moved into a new apartment together.
So we speed run moving together.
Yeah, we did. We were like, okay, what's the most stressful thing we can do? Move into a terrible 3-floor apartment walk up in the heat of summer, and it's also raining. So we did that. And afterwards I was like, okay, I still love you.
Yeah.
That was a very, very stressful situation, and I'm still excited to be here with you. And then I also didn't get to see you as much because you were working night shifts.
I was working 12-hour shifts from 6. Well, that was right when that was actually 10-hour shifts. So from 2 p.m. No, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Oof.
Yeah. On a manual labor job. So
yeah, and then I adapted to your sleep schedule. So we like didn't see the sun, and it was just an insanely stressful situation. But at the end of it, I was like, I don't want to leave. I'm not ready to leave. Like, even though this 4 months objectively sucked,
it wasn't that bad. You played a lot of
Skyrim. I had to get Skyrim.
Perfect.
I was still like very, very excited to be with you every day.
Yeah.
So it felt solid that I was actually going to like start taking the steps to move here and like go to school here and all that.
Then we started looking at immigration stuff. So because that's always the next thing.
Yeah. So I mean, wow, that's just such a go ahead.
Sorry, the question was about proposals.
I forgot.
I think that we had a lot of like mini casual proposals over several years, actually, because it was never a pop the question type of thing. It was always an ongoing conversation for us, just because we talk about what we want so often. So I've given you probably like 6 or 7 rings now.
Yeah. Because you keep getting excited to propose.
Yeah, so I would
come up really with something.
Sweet. And one time I mailed you some because I was like, I think you'd like these.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be like a record of some kind, like 7 proposals.
Well, and the one time we were like, oh, let's, because we both agreed, we were like, we both want to propose. Like, we both want to do something for each other.
And then I haven't gotten to do anything because you just keep proposing. You keep stealing all of them.
That's on you. That's on you.
Yeah. So I think like the official proposal, if we call it, like the last one that has happened and the one that felt like official was the spring after I had moved to the States permanently. Like, so 2021.
For immigration purposes, temporarily.
Yes.
Because you're a non-immigrant.
Officially temporarily.
But yeah, for long term.
For long term. I had been here long term, and we had been living together long term, and we knew that this was going to be feasible. We had been talking about when we wanted to get married in the immediate future. So it was the spring, and you said you didn't plan the day.
No.
Right? You kind of, no, the rings arrived the day.
Okay, you're getting ahead of yourself because this makes you look so bad.
No, I think it's so cute.
I think you had just done either an exam or you had finished something.
I had finished.
And
I had done something.
You asked to do something to celebrate, and to celebrate, we went out and volunteered with a tree planting organization.
Oh, that's so wholesome.
So we planted a bunch of trees, and then we got home and we were trying to figure out what to do next, and I had to sign for a package all of a sudden. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. And kind of like went to the bedroom trying to be very subtle and wasn't very subtle.
You weren't very subtle at all.
I think I straight up tried to tell you it was like a sex toy or something to throw you off the trail.
But you went to the bedroom and like opened this package and then immediately came out and was like, let's go on a picnic. You should dress cute. I want to take some pictures of you.
I was too excited.
So discreet.
We went so discreet, right? I was like, why are you asking me to get dressed up cute all of a sudden? Okay.
As if I haven't done that before.
That's true, you have. But getting the package that I was not allowed to see, it was a very small package. You immediately went to the bedroom, came out, told me to get dressed cute.
I should have like
took me to get my favorite food. Like, and then we went to one of the state parks around here, Carly State Park, where because of the time of year, the bluebells were blooming, and they really only bloom for like 2 or 3 weeks. And at Carly State Park, they just like cover the forest floor. Like they are just all over the place. So
it's like the Valley of the Bluebells or something.
Yeah, it's so pretty. We like had a little walk and then sat down and ate, and you started like setting up the camera, being like, I'm trying to like figure this out. Like I need to get, you just stand right there just so I can frame the camera right. And then you went over to the backpack and like pretended to like take a snack of something, but obviously we're hiding something in your hand.
Oh my god.
So I knew it was coming, but I was still super excited. I remember like feeling like my heart beating really, really fast and leaning against this like cool fallen tree and realizing that you were absolutely like video recording on the camera. I remember like watching the video, all I'm saying is like, for real this time, for real.
Oh, do you still have that?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. I am very easily embarrassed by my own actions. So
yeah,
I can't watch it.
But it's there in case that ever changes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we had that, and then we started actually wedding planning.
Yeah.
After that.
So that was probably the final pre-wedding proposal. There will probably be some post-wedding proposals.
Yeah.
Some reaffirmations.
Yeah.
I actually kind of love that idea, because like, you know how there's kind of that phrase that gets thrown around of like, it's about the wedding, not the marriage, and you know, similar things. Like, I feel like that's actually really important to like remind each other that you're like, hey, I'm still in it. I'm still committed. Like, I really like that.
Yeah, like we've talked about maybe doing like some recommitment ceremonies in the future. Because we eloped the first year, right? Yeah. And then we had an actual wedding the year afterwards.
It was a vow renewal.
And I think we've like talked about maybe doing something similar, like for each anniversary, but I mean, obviously smaller, so we don't have to keep putting in that money.
We're also just a fan of like rituals of commitment. We do those a lot anyways, so it's something that's really enjoyable for us.
That's super sweet. Yeah, I want to hear about the elopement itself, and then I'm curious too to hear about like what those conversations were like as far as how you landed there.
I think we really, honestly, part of it was stress around Maple's insurance as a non-immigrant US living person.
Because I had some insurance that I had paid for out of pocket, but it was not very good. And then the first year we had an incident where I was injured. Sloane popped my kneecap off on my birthday.
It was literally
so that,
a freak accident.
It was such a freak accident type of thing.
And every year I am overcome with guilt.
Yeah. And so obviously the bills for that were very, very scary. So that kind of flavored all of the conversations around like getting legally married, because I was like, well, I really need the benefits of a legal marriage to you. As much as I wish it was just about like.
Well, and I think that we had so many conversations about it that we kind of got tired of having the conversations about it. So it was just time to do it. So we decided that we would actually get married before the end of the year that year. So we didn't even make it 6 months, I think, between proposal and marriage.
Yeah, we did proposal and then we got married October 15th. You said you've been to Rochester. We got married at Quarry Hill.
Okay. Yeah.
The nature center there. We were actually going to rent like one of the areas, but I guess they don't rent the building that we wanted out. So literally when we snuck in, not into the building, but like into a certain part of the forest.
Snuck is a strong word, but
we weren't really secretive. It wasn't against the rules.
We did not have permission though. There was no sort of asking first. It was definitely a ask for forgiveness, not permission thing. It's a public park.
Yeah, it's a public park. And so I had my one best friend fly out as a witness, and you had your friend fly out as a witness, and then we had our other friend get ordained to officiate for us. And so we just had the 5 of us.
We didn't trust anybody who didn't know us personally to do like the right kind of thing we were looking for. I was like, I don't want this to be a thing where we have to explain how we feel about each other. We wanted somebody who knew us personally. So we asked a friend to get ordained for us. They were able to do that, and we snuck into Quarry Hill in this public park. We found a location by this huge
oak tree, really big oak tree. It's kind of got a cleared circle around it with some benches. So we had like a circle arch that we had decorated with flowers and chiffon. And then like we both had like nice clothes on. We had like the area decorated a little bit, just with like some lights, one little handheld speaker for music. And it was never like we saw each other the day before, like the day getting ready. Like,
we got ready
together.
Yeah.
We picked out our outfits together.
You did my makeup.
I did your makeup. Like it was all we were together for the whole day. Like everyone involved in the wedding was together for the whole day, which I really liked that.
Yeah, it was 5 people total. We all got in the same car to go. It felt like going to prom.
It did. It felt like going to prom because we were all crowded into one car. It felt like prom. Like we had a nice brunch, and we went and did our ceremony like 20 minutes or so. Took a bunch of pictures, and then went to Culver's.
It started as a joke, but they had actually
started as a joke to go to Culver's.
They had announced a novelty burger based on cheese curds called the Curder Burger, and the whole day we had all been joking that like, wouldn't it be funny if we got this? Wouldn't it be funny if we got it? And then we signed our marriage license while eating a Curder Burger because
which we were all hungry. Like we went in our wedding like dresses.
Which I've prepared a photo of for our immigration documents with the caption, "The couple eating a Curder Burger following their elopement."
That's some real love right there. Like they can't argue with that.
No. And then for our vow renewal, we had Culver's afterwards.
We did. It was kind of, the workers at that location were absolutely
they were entranced by it.
Yeah. Enchanted by our continued Culver's love.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, you do you.
We got free
he gave us a custard.
Yeah, we got free Culver's custard for that.
There was like
there
was like a lifetime employee there, and he was so touched by our tale of love.
Oh, I mean, honestly, people should just wear their wedding attire out more often because the amount of free stuff you get, amazing.
Yeah, for our vow renewal, we went bigger with the vow renewal. Like
it was important to me to have a event where I was I am so private about so many things. I wanted to have this kind of event to formalize our relationship to anybody who managed to not know. And also, I am embarrassed about myself sometimes, but I really love Maple. So I wanted to A, show you off, and B, make sure everybody knows that I love you a lot.
That's really sweet.
Yeah,
So that was a little bit of a bigger gathering.
Yeah,
And
I think we had like 40 people.
Yeah, big is kind of
big is
big
okay.
compared to rival. Yeah.
Sure.
We rented a nature center as well, because I am not an event person. I had a lot of anxiety leading up to our vow renewal. Like, I was just sure, for whatever reason, that something was going to go wrong and it was going to be more work than like the joy I got out of it. And I think like the entire time leading up to it, like the entire time leading up into like the prep of it, I was dreading the whole thing because I don't like events. And like there are conversations we had where I was like, but I know this is important to you. The dread I'm feeling is not more valuable than how important you feel this is. Even though I was like I was super scared about it. I was like, no, like, and let's go.
Yeah,
like
the conversation we had about them did always like include, I was like, if you really can't, we can bail. It's just money. People will get over it.
Yeah.
And I think that gave you some of the comfort to be like, okay, if it really, really, really feels that bad, I can. But you wanted to work through it.
I did. I really, really wanted to work through it. And like, as soon as we started doing the actual prepping work, and I realized how many of the people around us were like, what do you need us to do? Like, we are here. We are ready to put the work in for you.
I think mentally you were ready to set up all the chairs, set up all the tables, like literally by yourself.
I was like really, really thinking that we would have to do it all by ourselves. Because we decided to cater it ourselves. We did all the decorating ourselves. We did like everything we could do ourselves, we did ourselves. And in my head, that meant me and you.
Yeah.
And then people started like gathering for it. And all of a sudden we had a crew of like 20 people who were so excited to help us do this prep. And so I ended up having like a really, really good time.
You made me cry.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I think I was also like the sense of community that it gave me with even my own family that I usually feel was really, really powerful for me.
Like whenever I think about the day, that is one of the first things I actually think about is I'm so thankful that I went through it, because it really, really reaffirmed that we have a community that loves us. And we're so excited to see us do this vow renewal.
That's really sweet. Wow. Makes me very happy too. So, and obviously you two like had very different circumstances, you know, with like your insurance and immigration and you know, various factors. But having been through an elopement kind of like that, could you see like the appeal of potentially like why queer couples would be interested in that, or like share any perspectives on that?
I think elopements should be considered by most people who are looking to get married, just because of the amount of pressure it removes from the entire situation. And like people who have grown up with expectations of what weddings should look like can find that very overwhelming when you start thinking about weddings. People with anxiety will definitely feel some pressure from having to kind of plan a large event. And I think elopements help people recenter that it really is about you and your partner, and everything else should be a bonus.
Like it really love that. Yeah, it really scales back the important parts of the day, where when I think about our elopement, I think about you and me reading our vows.
Like not trying to get into a dress or arranging for Aunt Aunt Brenda to have a ride home or anything.
Yeah. Because it was like everything that happened during the day, we ended up like we did together. And when things went wrong, it was, well, the 5 people who are going to be in the wedding are here and also saw the thing go wrong. It doesn't matter anymore. And we all just kind of were able to laugh it off. I think like elopements should probably be seen as just as valuable as a big wedding. I think sometimes elopements get the idea that they're like a cop-out or like an alternative to a big traditional wedding instead of their own just as valuable thing.
Yeah, I actually have managed to escape most like cultural messaging about weddings just because I think I'm not paying attention to a lot of things. So I didn't know that elopements kind of had this kind of like, oh, so you're sneaking off kind of feeling for some people, which of course depends on like the culture that you grew up on or grew up in. But yeah, like elopements, I think it's possible that the like larger society kind of views it as, especially parents can view it as an experience being stolen from them, when of course the experience should be for the people who are having it.
Yeah, which I didn't have. Like my parents eloped themselves,
so they got it.
So they like pretty quickly, I told them pretty quickly, I was like, we're probably going to elope. And my parents were like, yeah, like of course we did the same thing because we didn't want to deal with it either.
Oh.
And,
they did it before it was cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think my parents actually did it secretly.
I think they got in trouble.
I think they got in trouble a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they were like super excited regardless.
Yeah, and I think honestly my sharing when I'm ready with my family primed them to accept that when I was like, oh yeah, we are probably gonna elope, and also we did elope, they were like, okay, yeah, that tracks. We're usually finding out about things a little later.
Yeah.
So we didn't have anybody who was super upset about it, which was great because then we got to focus on what we enjoyed.
I think maybe especially for queer couples specifically, there is maybe like a bigger expectation placed on us to have this big wedding and like reaffirm the like worthiness of the couple. And that can be super, super stressful if you're planning a big traditional wedding.
And finding like LGBT friendly vendors is its own set of specific anxieties.
Yeah.
So I strongly recommend bypassing all of it and then just having a party afterwards.
Yeah. Have a party afterwards. It's a lot cheaper too.
And yeah,
saves money.
If it's not a wedding, automatic discount.
True, that's very true. Wow, you two are coming in with all the hacks.
Yeah. As long as you say it's an event.
It's an anniversary
party / event. Yeah. It is much cheaper for most like venue rentals and stuff like that. Because as soon as you put the word wedding in front of it, the price goes up like crazy.
You know this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think like my partner and I will probably do something similar too. So it's nice to hear you, be like, yes, do it.
And
yes, elope. It is good.
Honestly,
I think
like
everyone should elope.
Yeah.
And the current like kind of zeitgeist is that COVID has made it much more acceptable to have a legal marriage and then a either cultural or community like celebration of that marriage a significant amount of time later, which I hope it sticks around because that relaxing of kind of expectations of how marriage should be is better. There's no one size fits all for how you want to celebrate your love.
Oh my God, that's the quote. That's the podcast quote right there. I love that. That like really, because elopements are so like you can really customize them. Where it's like if you're at a venue, you're at like the exact same spot doing the exact same thing as 40 other couples before you. So I love that.
Yeah, and like just having the freedom of the day to decide what we wanted to do. Like I knew I wanted to like eat beforehand. I knew that I wanted to like have a nice little meal beforehand like a nice brunch instead of having like a fancy dinner afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why that was in my head.
Because you
you
need to have good food before you enjoy something, so you get your energy levels up because of your agonies.
You're so right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had the freedom to do that because there was none of this expectation that we weren't supposed to see each other on the day of. And I'm like, but I like you. I want to be with you. I want to get ready with you. Like, I value your opinion more than anyone else's. How can I not have you tell me, like, I need you to check my hair?
I think I did your hair.
I think you did my hair. Yeah. You definitely did my hair for our vow renewal.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely got to be at the top of the list of like traditions we can ixnay. Like, people being like, you have to sleep in another bed the night before. It's like, what? No,
I miss you.
Couldn't be me. Yeah.
Oh
no, we're so terribly clingy with each other. I don't think we could manage it.
Yeah.
And if that's something that you want to do, that's the best thing about elopement. You can.
Mm-hmm. If you can still do that with elopement, if you want to do that.
Yeah. You can sleep in another bed. Great. Well, yeah. Awesome. So I think kind of to like wrap things up a little bit, something that I've been asking everybody, because it kind of really relates back to the theme of the podcast, and because I really enjoy hearing everybody's perspective, is if I were to ask you why you think every wedding should be a little bit queer, what would you say?
I think like if you take queering like and like using queer as a descriptor for subverting some kind of norm, then every wedding could be a little just more catered to the couple and not surrounding like all the, especially like even for straight couples, like you don't have to do the gender norms with it. I know there's like some starting where like you're only supposed to have bridesmaids, like, and only supposed to have groomsmen, but if you have friends of another gender, then they should be the ones to stand up next to you.
Love that. So true.
I think that a lot of people could benefit from looking at other kinds of love, especially like couples who may not have considered it before. So looking at what other people have done for their weddings could give you ideas that you never thought you'd have before. And like seeing how like a straight couple looking at how a gay couple did a wedding, or a gay couple looking at the way that a wedding in their like cultural heritage has been done. Every wedding should be a little bit queer because it should be something new. So like, let's make something new that's just for us is kind of a good way to think about it.
And I like almost guarantee no other couple has celebrated their wedding with a Kurder burger.
And then we have charcuterie boards at our renewal.
We just had a massive charcuterie board. Everyone loved it.
There's a grazing table. The whole table was just for food.
Sloane, have you ever thought about like being like an author or like a poet or something? Because I feel like you just put things in like these amazing sentences that are just like, yep.
Thank you. I haven't actually written in a while, but I love to do a little creative writing.
Sloane loves to create books as well.
Oh yeah, I do a lot of book binding.
They wrote a really, really good, genuine book about our characters from D&D, and then bound the book themselves. Like created the book from scratch.
Yeah, I wrote, I think it ended up being like 205 pages. And then bound it into a book and gifted it to you as a present.
It was really nice.
Really, just like a physical object of our connection and love.
That is so cute. Oh my gosh, I love you too. Oh, well, okay, to wrap everything kind of up, I have a fun little lightning round. I just think they're so fun.
Yeah, we can't go off on tangents.
We have to be so succinct.
One sentence.
Yeah.
But before I do that, is there anything that you two really want to share with the world? We'll do our little lightning round.
I think one specific thing that people should keep in mind when doing elopements or wedding planning or event planning at all is that the colors of things don't matter, and you should try to let go of that. A theme is nice, but the colors matching is something that I got hung up on a lot. So try to keep your heart open for other shades of cerulean and indigo.
Wow. Throw colors out the window, they say.
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say, if you are not having like hard conversations leading up to your wedding, you're probably doing something wrong.
Right.
Like nothing after a marriage should be a surprise.
Yes. Yeah, I really, really agree with that.
Yeah. Like there are so many resources out there where you can like
before you get married, you need to talk about finances, potential children raising, how your religious beliefs are going to work if you have any, and then how your extended families are going to work, and end of life care. I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, you should have these conversations.
Yeah.
Like you should exhaust every really hard conversation before you join your lives together, because then the rest of your life is going to be, you've already set up the groundwork for a lot of those hard conversations.
Because if you're getting married and you're going into this relationship with the intent that it will be for the rest of your lives, you should think about what the rest of your lives look like and how your lives will end together too.
Yeah.
So, and make sure that they're going to be good the whole time.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's great, because you already kind of answered one of the lightning round. So
we actually have specifically different things that we
yeah, we were looking over the list you sent us earlier, and I was like, you need to tell me what you're saying, because I have a feeling we're going to say the same thing.
And we were
going to say the same thing.
Okay.
So we switched it for the advice. We've got more advice. We like to talk.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I like to give advice, which is really bad at following it sometimes, but I love to work through a situation.
No, I am getting really wise vibes from both of you, so I think it's okay. Okay, are you two ready?
Yes.
Lightning round. All right. Do you remember who or what character was your gay awakening?
The Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo.
Princess Mononoke and Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay.
Powerful women.
Yeah. We love that. Do you two have any favorite queer icons?
You go ahead. Sorry.
I do not follow celebrities that much, so I will have to go like a literary queer icon and say Gideon Nav.
Damn it! That was what I was gonna say. Shit. Okay, hold on.
Gideon Nav from the Locked Tomb trilogy by Tamsin Muir.
Okay, so it's a book.
It's a book, yes.
Okay.
She is just such a strong, like, queer butch woman, and I'm obsessed with her.
I mean, hey.
I didn't mean to skip yours. We should have talked about that one first too.
Yeah, I mean, she's really what's forefront, like, on my mind right now. I think, honestly, this is going to be a little wild, and I'm going to catch some flack from this from anybody who knows what I know, but Vriska from Homestuck. She's a bad person, but she did nothing wrong, and the way that she approaches being a bad bitch is so queer and iconic.
You can't talk about Homestuck on our podcast.
Everybody needs to know.
That's okay. I have gotten so many different answers on this question, so that's why they're fun, because they're all different. And like you said, that's part of being queer. It's like all different and out of the norm. So we love it. Okay. Best relationship advice in one sentence.
It is always us versus the problem and not me versus you.
I'm gonna cry.
We're really good at making people cry.
That was how we knew our vow renewal was a success, because
we won.
Yeah, immediately after we read our vows again, I got embarrassed. So I was like, we're gonna leave out this side door and go for a walk with each other for just a little bit. So have a good time, eat some food. And then we left and came back like half an hour later. But apparently right after we left, everybody was just crying.
Everyone was like sobbing, like people had to leave.
You're like, we win at that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I felt like we won.
My probably one like best one sentence relationship advice is, if somebody's feeling bad, you should eat something and drink some water and then revisit what you're doing, because you know it's so easy to forget what your body needs, and having somebody else can help you remind each other what you're doing.
I get very hangry.
Yeah, I'm always like, okay, that I see that you're having like a kind of a breakdown. Would you like to go eat some sushi? Just for no reason, just wondering.
And also just the space too is usually great.
Right. Yeah.
Love that. Okay. Favorite thing about the other person?
I love how intensely you approach the world. You like everything you do. If you are going to do it, you do it 100% and explore. Oh, Gideon is here.
Oh, hi.
Our cat has joined the podcast.
Our cat has joined the podcast. You just explore the world with such an intensity that I don't think I have ever seen in anyone else. And it makes me really, really excited to see what else you will find out while you're exploring.
That's so good. I think my favorite thing about you, Maple, is like how much enjoyment you get out of sharing with people, and at the same time how much I enjoy when you share like yourself free of other people's expectations. When you go a little feral in the house, when you're crawling around on all floors because you're like, oh, I just really gotta touch the carpet real quick or something. Like, I don't think you've done that, but we definitely
Mine
have
was
moments.
so sweet about you.
Okay.
Mine was so sweet. You're talking about me going feral goblin mode.
And why shouldn't you? You've had a hard life. You need to relax sometimes and go goblin mode.
I can edit it out if you want to, Maple.
No, it's okay. It's really funny.
Okay.
I can't deny that I do that.
I love to see you relaxed, and I love to see you enjoying yourself in ways that you don't feel any shame about. Why is that bad?
That's really pure. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, favorite snack that maybe you're gonna go have after the show.
I'm gonna have baked brie with apricot jam.
Ooh, she's fancy.
Right? See, the thing is, you're actually allowed to have that whenever you want.
It doesn't have to be a special occasion. It can be Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. You're allowed to have fancy food whenever you want, and no one can stop you from having like baked brie.
That's why we have a charcuterie board like 3 times a week, because it's also the thing about a charcuterie board, it's just stuff on a plate. You can just throw it on there.
Very true.
What's your favorite snack?
I think my favorite snack is probably I love a fresh fruit that I always forget. So like a cherry, a grape, a beautiful mandarin.
Just one cherry.
That's not true. I would probably eat like an alarming amount. One time I ate so many strawberries, I got hives. I had an allergic reaction to the strawberries because they were so many.
Yeah, we got some grapes for the first time in a while, and I like finally went into the bag to have myself a few grapes, and there's like none left.
I ate them all. I like a fruit.
There you go. A fruit. Okay, we love it.
A fruit for a fruit, you know? It makes the whole world grow. You don't have to put that in. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm embarrassed.
Fruity. Well, thank you two so much for sharing part of your love story and, you know, being a little bit vulnerable. I know sharing love can be vulnerable, and we really appreciate you sharing. And I'm so excited that like the rest of the world gets to hear your love story because it's a good one.
This is it makes me feel egotistical every time I say it, but we have some close friends, multiple people, like I think over 5.
Yeah.
They hang out with us, and they've independently told us that being around us makes them believe in love. And it makes them like a few of them have been like, yeah, like you know my family life, like seeing you two together makes me believe that healthy, loving relationships are possible. And
Yeah.
I think that always reminds me not to take what we have for granted, and that it's a product of work, and that we love each other and we're going to work for it.
Yeah, we literally we were in IKEA with our one friend, and of course we were in the nursery section because I love to look at that kind of stuff, and we like were talking about when do we want to have kids, let's figure out this timeline, and we were kind of just having this conversation in front of my one friend, and afterwards she was like, wait, did you guys just have like did you guys just decide something? I didn't realize because I thought there was going to be fighting.
we were like, okay, we have to have these criteria met before we're going to be comfortable both having children. And then we just like hash it out real quick.
She's like, I forgot that conversations between a couple can like come from like mutual places of respect and not who wins in a fight.
Yeah.
Like just, yeah, especially with a lot of queer people, you know, like you don't grow up in the best, like with those role models.
Your relationships might not always be respect based.
So it feels really, really good whenever people tell us that they love to see our love and that we are like good role models for a couple.
It makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Like, how cool to know that you two are just living your best lives and you're like literally healing the world right around you just by like, that's so amazing. Like, please don't stop doing what you're doing because it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to love her for a very long time.
I'm gonna cry. I'm really gonna cry. Oh, well, yeah. Thank you again so much.